Oh goodness, I am a bit of a mess today. Goodness, I'm trying to uh, do about 15 different things. Or I've been trying to do about 15 different things for today. So if you'll excuse me, I'm a bit all over the place at the moment. But what we have, I decided that okay, stop, breathe, take 30 seconds. So anyway, welcome to City Skylines with, and my goodness, I did not expect to be saying this, the original City Skylines with a brand new DLC. After the last one, which was, oh my goodness, let me have a look. Where is it? Yeah, this is why I'm saying I'm a bit scatterbrained. Sunset Harbour, which was released almost 2 years ago, actually now. I was not expecting a new DLC for City Skylines to be popping up uh, at all. Hello there, Blue Cornflower, how are you doing? Sorry, just finishing off a few things. This DLC is airports. So I had to completely start up a new city because, well, mods will be broken and potentially because I just mod this game so much, well, moderately so, any attempt at a new city would have yeah, just been a bit, well, a bit difficult to actually try and integrate this new DLC into, but we can see one of the new maps that's here as well. Oh, and apparently I've got a sewage outlet. Okay, we do have a river. Good, 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 good. We do have a river that we can actually start dumping some stuff into. Um, the gimmick for this, I wouldn't really, or I'm not really sure I'd say that there is a gimmick. I've been kind of avoiding seeing most of like other people playing, so at least at the moment I just know the basic stuff. And admittedly, I got this with a small discount anyway. So let's see. So cities or city airport, multiple terminals, airplane types, buildings. You can have, like with the rail system, you can have visitors and tourists, and you can also have cargo, but you can only get cargo at level 5, I think. So it uses the same mechanics of the districts that they've been doing since absolutely forever, which I'm not going to complain about because when I initially saw them using those districts, I was thinking, it's like, okay, if they manage to keep up with this, it is going to be a very good system for them to actually work with in the future. So hopefully I'm just going to basically be speeding through this initial bit of building as much as we can. Districts are... Okay, I don't have it here, so we need to reach a population of 1,000. But once we do that, which should be pretty quick because all of this is, you know, pretty standard stuff. But I'll be able to showcase that. And it basically allows you to have different areas of the city designed and built around different kind of sections and environments. So, for instance, you can have one section of the city, say, is specified to be what is it? One of the options. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember this all. So, like, one of the options is schools out. Why are you complaining about? Oh, because it doesn't have. I told you I'm not on top of my game today. It doesn't have power. That's why it's complaining. But good thing is, this is all connected up, so we can remove that, and hopefully that will stay connected up. So yeah, you can make districts and put in different policies. So you can say, for instance, you want one section of the city to have the schools out policy, which means that the citizens will prioritize getting out and going to work rather than continuing on with education, which is good if you have like a high amount of industry that is, like we see here, requires basically just people who don't even have an elementary school education. So this is like no education at all. Elementary school education, high school education, and university education. So they can be a bit picky and they can complain if they don't have the right ratio of workers. Yes, districts can be exceptionally useful if you get to use them in the right circumstances. So what demand? Okay, we're pretty much on top of residential and commercial. One of the ones that I like, or that I've seen in some like massive cities, is the high-rise blocker, which allows you to kind of stagger out how tall buildings will get across the city, so you can create a little bit of a gradiated skyline rather than it necessarily being supermassive skyscrapers right next to tiny little single family homes. Could you build ghettos? I mean, kind of, because there are, like, for instance, oh, okay, so we've just got that, which means people are going to be complaining about some extra facilities. So if we look down here, say this one, so we have the building upgrade levels. So this is just basically at level 1 out of 5, which is the minimum. And basically you need to increase the various resources and such for the land value to become more appealing to people, which means that then the buildings will start upgrading, getting better, getting taller and such. I guess depending on how you feel about it, you could potentially do some districts which are less inclined to. I don't have the eyedropper. That this is the one thing that is like I am legit upset because I do not have like even what I consider the most essential mods. I'm just running a completely clean game. And it's like I'm looking at all of this and I'm kind of going, it's like, okay, where's my roundabout builder? Where's my eyedropper tool? Where's my find anything option? It's just trying to actually remember how to play the game without all of that stuff. So you could put in a bunch of policies that would be geared towards a like lower income, lower education, residential level. And once again, like I said, when we get up to a population of 1,000, I'm probably going to go over that and let you have a look. So what I'm actually doing here while I'm painting these districts is because residential districts absolutely hate noise. So because we've got a huge highway motorway here, I'm actually building up a small amount of commercial around here as a buffer zone. And when we get down and actually are able to unlock landscaping, then I'll probably add some trees in here to actually make a bit more of a noise block. Industrial doesn't care about it. And you can see here that this is complaining that we don't actually have enough workers. So we did also unlock the garbage processing facility. which I think I will put there, at least for now, and a medical clinic. So medical clinic is one of those things that will increase the land value. So wherever we put it, people are going to be really happy, and it's going to potentially upgrade the buildings around it, because obviously they've actually got healthcare within walking distance. So which overlays do we have? This is another one where I'm going, it's like I'm used to like being able to at least have a look at a bit more. So we can see here that we've got an overlay for land value. We can't quite see that yet. We do have noise pollution, and you can see like just how bad the basic industrial zone is, and the wind turbines. And yeah, so we've got one down here which is just basically feeding the outlet, which, you know, it's gonna be more than enough power. You hate people who make their cars and bikes very loud or speed around in the dead of night. Ugh. Yeah, thankfully, despite the fact that I live like in the center of town, and I mean like the center. Yeah, despite the fact that I live in like the center of a town, there is actually some pretty good soundproofing, and most people are good in terms of not speeding around at 2 a.m. We actually get more bothered by the pub that's nearby than we do any kind of people driving around. A vehicle inspection before being able to continue to drive. I can see the point in that. I'd just be concerned slash think that it would potentially be one of these situations where they submit like a vehicle which has been like, it doesn't have the super loud exhaust on it, but then as soon as they get pass, then they just reconfigure it again and put it all back on. Our house is made of actual brick, not just thin plasterboard. Yeah, we do have buildings actually made out of brick, but that's not always what helps with soundproofing, because there can still be some situations where you get a fair bit of noise, especially where there's or like there's some old buildings like Victorian era, so we're talking like 120 150 years ago, that are built so close together and they have like barely any insulation, so you can hear everything that's going on. And then there's also some issues with new build houses which have the same issue, where it's like someone cheaps out and suddenly decides that X, Y, or Z doesn't need to be there, or someone signs off on something where it's actually lacking an essential bit of infrastructure. Not that I'm talking from personal experience or not. So yeah, I can understand the idea behind like requirements on that to mitigate sound noise and such, but it's not really going to be something that I think is going to necessarily be a long-term solution. And the other big problem is, of course, all the electric vehicles are basically silent. Which makes it absolutely horrible for people who are like legally blind, because, you know, you might kind of cross a road, be used to hearing vehicle noise, and then because of all these electric vehicles, you can't hear anything. So you think the road's clear? Nah. So yeah, well, saying about speaking from personal experience, we have realised that the apartment complex, I suppose you would call it a condo in the US, because we do actually have people owning properties here rather than it just being rental, which is what I think you use apartment, or that's what you would call apartments if it's just completely rented, and condos, condominiums for ones that are actually owned by people. But yeah, we've kind of the more the builders come in to actually repair our building, kind of the more and more issues we're finding with the place. Which I probably really shouldn't be talking about because we are wanting to move and sell. So saying that we have all these issues is not going to be good. However, I will say where we are, like the apartment number condo that we are in, we are good. We don't have any of the issues. It's kind of more the building as a whole rather than our specific zone. But it's still aggravating as anything. Okay, so what are we missing? We want probably a bit more commercial. So I think if we... Yeah, so if we go around here, extend this out, make a loop, then we should be able to grab a little bit more area for commercial zoning. Pause that for a second while I just fill it all in. And then a bit more residential up and around here. And this, do we actually have pedestrian paths unlocked, or is that another one of those things that's a mod? No, that's a gravel road. Okay, no we don't. Too used to mods. Too used to mods. Yeah, wishing me luck and pats, thank you. Yeah, I'm fingers crossed that we can get it all done and signed off and we can actually move into somewhere that's going to better fit our purposes going forwards. Okay, so we are almost at 1,000 people and we probably want to expand our industrial zone out a little bit as well. So let's go there and there. We do have the wind turbines a little close, but that should be fine. Industrial doesn't really care about the noise. They create an absolute ton themselves. Just have to make sure that they've got water. There we go. Worthy village, population of 1,000. And here we can see we've got new features of districts and policies, as well as district specializations and services policies. I'll just finish laying these pipes down and we can create our first district. So we have options here to paint a district, and apparently we are running out of power a lot. So where is the next good option going to be for us? I think we're going to have to just keep to these wind turbines. We do have a decent area around here for it. We can't quite squeeze some in there. I managed to get one in, but that's about it. So anyway, districts. So let's just paint all of this as one. Neaten it up a little bit, just to make sure it's not going beyond the boundaries of where it should be. There we go. So that automatically gives it a name, and then we can click on here and policies. So we've only just opened this up, so we've got, basically we have 3 options. So for instance, we can say here that there's going to be a smoking ban, which costs us a small amount of cash per house. That reduces the risk of fires by, I think, 5%. You can ban pets, which honestly I think is one of the ones that is just a kind of story based option. I've never really seen any impact from that. Smoke detector distribution, so that will cost us 5 credits a building but significantly reduce fire or risk of fire. We can put in policies for power usage and water usage, which means that it will have more sensible usage. And then as we go along and we get higher populations, we can do things like encourage people to recycle. We can do an education boost, or we can say people should prioritize working rather than education. We can say free public transport. We can say that drugs are available, that people can freely take drugs with no risk of penalties. I think that gives you a slight happiness bonus. Heather Upasin, welcome back. Yeah, I'm a bit scatterbrained today. I've been trying to do what feels like about 15 different things and trying to remember to pause, take a breath, and actually focus on one thing. Blue cornflower in New Zealand, they've banned selling cigarettes to people born after a certain year. Yeah, I've heard about that. Wasn't it like, I think 2000, if you're born 2004, 2005 or later, they will not sell you cigarettes, which is, I think that's going to be interesting, especially if it's only cigarettes they're banning and not other options like vaping. That will be curious. Yeah, and then obviously as we get a higher population for the districts, we can sort out taxation. So we can say that small businesses get a tax break, large businesses have to pay a bit extra tax, and then city planning as well, which is some of the things like like industrial traffic and such, I believe, because I can't see that on this one. No, I can't see it on that one. Okay, so we'll continue on. Yeah, so like I said, trying to be doing about 15 different things. Upasin, how have you been doing today? You are complaining about electricity. Oh no, okay, that's just popped back. So we are using about half of our electricity that is available. Is always nice to see. E-cigarettes, much less unhealthy, don't smell or cause secondhand asthma problems. That is true. I will disagree on the don't smell, because honestly, walking around where I am, I just get the annoying, like if I'm walking behind someone who's vaping, I will get a huge puff of whatever vapor they've been puffing on, and sometimes when that happens, I almost wish they're smoking regular cigarettes, because I don't know what it is just some of the smells of the vaping materials just, I just do not find them pleasant at all. So as we are expanding, we probably actually want to do another road up here. So 3,600, we have got plenty of money. And as we develop going forwards, I'm probably going to restructure this and actually do like an offshoot of the highway all the way along here and actually have things branching off, just so that we can actually start controlling the inevitable traffic problems that we are going to have. Such as, obviously we are going to be having a huge amount of industrial traffic as we go along, just simply by virtue of things being shipped in, shipped out, finished products going from here across to the commercial zones and then just being exported as well. So once again, everything seems to be running fine. We've got one lone water tower supplying our entire city with water, but we should be able to get something, like when that starts becoming overutilized, and we can obviously put in an actual proper water pump, set up a more appropriate sewage solution rather than just dumping it out into the river, which is always amusing to me. Oh, and yeah, we can see here some of the issues where we've got just an absolute bunch of industrial traffic coming through. And now I cannot remember, so we can make a priority road. So we can do that, and we can say all the way down here and all the way along here, you have absolute priority, like that. Upasin, well, you got sick, probably COVID. Oh dear. Ugh, that's not good. Upasin. I would say I hope it's nothing serious, but based on those symptoms, it does sound not great. So yeah. Even fell on the snow during the walk with your dog. I hope you didn't injure yourself. Hope you didn't injure yourself there. But yeah, if you want to just head off and try and hunker down and recover, that's fine with me. If you want me to just kind of continue babbling on and not expect many questions or comments from you, that's fine as well. I'll just be streaming on for about an hour and a half or so. So yeah, if you feel like you want to head off, then just go. I'm not going to ask you to stay around. Oh, and we have some issues with burglaries. Oh, pause the game. Yeah, as Blue Cornflower says, hope you feel better soon and stay safe. I don't want you exhausting yourself just for the sake of watching the stream. Okay, so we've got a police station down, which should help with some of these issues where we've got with crime. And education, we can put down an elementary school. I think I'm not going to for the moment, but what we do want is some more residential stuff. I'm going to drag out a long road there, and while I actually think about it, I'm going to upgrade this. That's going to annoy a bunch of people because it destroyed their houses. Okay, so we've got that, and yes, I think I'm going to continue this being just commercial zoning and bring this up here and just delete that little bit that's on the edge. So we've got that, and it might be worthwhile, yes. So upgrading this bit as well, so we have a loop of, this is 4-lane bi-directional traffic as opposed to these 2 lanes which are just one way, not one way, one road each way. Antigen rapid test. I probably know that by the name lateral flow test in the UK. That's probably what I know it as. Yeah, I've no idea how much it obviously is for you where you are who pass in, but I just hope that you're able to rest and recover appropriately for you. So you could get the test that gives you a result in 15 minutes if you had no symptoms, but because you do have symptoms, you can't get one of those tests. I presume that means you have to have, like, you must have the one that goes to a laboratory to be tested there then. That's a bit... yeah, that's a bit strange. Okay, so we are filling up with quite a lot of industrial residential because we've just put all of those items down. And coming across to here as well. And if you actually give me a moment, I think I'm going to... where is my page? There we go. Stream. Yeah. Seeing as the subject material we're talking about, I think I'm gonna just disable my bot for the stream because it doesn't really feel quite appropriate for what it's pinging up today. So that was the wrong one. Stream elements. Yes, if you just give me like 2 seconds, I'll disable that because, yeah. Ah, there we go. Okay, that should be saved now, so that shouldn't ping up that message. That feels wholly inappropriate. Yeah, blue cornflower. Where you live, you can just buy the ART tests from supermarkets. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can buy them where I am, but it's very much that they are ridiculously easy to get, and I think I honestly got a pack of about 10 or so just delivered to the house, unfortunately. And Upasin talking about the traditional cigarettes versus e-cigarettes. Attended an international medical conference where you raise the subject of it. So the short-term consequences are as dangerous as usual smoking. Long-term were less dangerous, but we do not have enough information. Yeah, that's one of those things. It's like we won't know the long-term effects of e-cigarettes and vaping until we're like, I don't know, 20, 30 years? Because then we would have had people who were smoking for that amount of time, and we'll be able to see the effects versus, obviously, we have however many centuries of smoking cigarettes and tobacco to look upon for research. So we just hit a new population thing. So yes, I'm going to tick schools out. So the citizens will prefer working over education, and only a small proportion will go to study at university. We don't have a university unlocked quite yet. And as we also have the option now, I'm just going to be putting down a couple of nice little parks and plazas just to make things feel a little bit more, I wouldn't really say environmental, but a bit nicer at the least. And what else can we put down? I think I would put down, let me just see where is the best one. Unfortunately demolishing like 4 houses here, but oh, okay, that was a bad place. I couldn't actually see that one properly. So we want to move that a scooch just so we can actually rezone this tiny little bit down here and get a couple of properties as options there. So what else do we have? So we need to reach population of 2,800 before we can even start thinking about our transport option. Yeah, that's good to know, Upasin. Yeah, I hope that this is going to be appropriately distracting for you, but yes, just do keep in mind your own health and well-being, and I just hope that you do feel better soon. Okay, so we do also have the landscaping, and as I said, I'm going to put down some trees. Unfortunately, missing one of my game mods already, which allows me to just basically do a huge amount of trees with one click. So these are honestly just going to be standard, nothing special, just creating a tiny bit of a noise break. And also when we get up to the options, we're going to be adding some noise breaks to our highway system as well, just to minimize the amount of noise that's going to come through into our city, because yeah, as much as we try and avoid it, it's just always going to happen. So the most we can tend to do is minimize just how much kind of gets through to where people live. Yeah, don't worry, blue cornflower is just pretty much Upasin's gonna hang around for as long as they feel comfortable, and then hopefully head off and get some good rest. So let's actually have a look so we can see. Aside from the buildings that are on fire, we shall just ignore that. But we can see that we do actually seem to be getting less noise through from the highway just due to the fact that we've dropped down these trees. The commercial areas will always create noise, but that is thankfully low enough that the residential areas will be happy to manage it. And this is also one of the things about the staging that I was trying to allude to earlier, Blue Cornflower. So basically what we could have is, say, we have our big industrial centres, then we have some high density commercial buildings which are going to be multi-storey, not quite office blocks because IT offices get their own zone. So then we'd have that, then we'd potentially do a second section with the high density commercial, but then we'd put one of the policies on to stop them from reaching level 5. And then we'd go into some high density residential, then probably another one with the policy to avoid them going up to level 5 and the maximum height, and then we'd start going down into the low density areas. So you could start doing that and start kind of layering the city up. Talking about e-cigarettes and vapes into Singapore, yeah, Singapore is ridiculously strict on things like that. There's also, you're basically not allowed chewing gum. Like, you can't buy chewing gum in Singapore at all, and you're only allowed to bring it in if you have a valid medical reason, which I presume is like an official medical note from a dentist stating that yes, there is a need for this, for example, to help combat gingivitis. And Singapore also made smoking illegal basically everywhere except your own home. And Upasin, how important is DLC for this game? Some of it is good to have, but I wouldn't necessarily say is necessary, whereas some other ones are very much necessary. And if I actually have a look, there is actually a City Skylines DLC ranking video that I watched a while ago. Oh, so it doesn't consider the newest one, airports. So I'm just popping a link in. This is from someone called City Planner Plays, and this is at Virgin Media. We're cranking up as the as the YouTube channel name says. They are someone who works as a city planner in real life. They talk you through like designing a city and such, and that is their ranking of the DLCs. So there are a couple, for instance, mass transit is considered one of the like massively important ones to have. And let me actually just have a quick look myself. So I'll pause the game because I don't really want any disasters to come along, because I have disasters enabled. That's one of the DLCs I have. So anyway, let me go to the Steam store page and I can have a look, and I can quickly give you my own yes or no opinion on that. So airports looks like it may be one that is a nice to have, and it helps kind of build up the environment and makes things feel a bit more complete, but it may not necessarily be a must-have DLC. Okay, so let me just bring that list up. Yeah, nicotine chewing gum at pharmacies to help you quit. Yeah, that is one thing that there is obviously quite a lot of items to help you try and quit smoking, including e-cigarettes. Okay, that is not giving me a good list. So I'll go into the store page itself properly. Okay, so let me see. So City Skylines After Dark. Nice to have. Introduces options for obviously a day-night cycle and tourism. If those interest you, worthwhile getting. Snowfall, nope. Nope. The only real thing that it brings in is the tram line, I believe it is. And the snow, only on specific maps. So, no, don't really bother with that. Natural disasters, maybe if you start getting bored of the gameplay and you want a bit of challenge, because that will obviously bring in things that will decimate your city and that you either have to plan for or figure out what you're going to do afterwards. Mass transit, yes, absolutely. Green cities, nice to have, gives a bit of environmental interest to it. Park life is, I would say, a maybe, because the whole building parks option is very nice, and it does introduce the kind of district painting area that Colossal Order has just kept on using again and again, which I'm not going to complain about. Industries, for me, that is very much a yes, because that adds in so much detail and depth from the just standard industries system that would be an automatic recommendation for me. Campus is like Park Life, where you can build a university rather than just having the pre-built ones. It can be a bit fiddly, a bit detail orientated if you really want to do it well. Sunset Harbour, which was the last DLC released before Airports, is a mixed bag, because it kind of feels like this is part of the reason why I was actually surprised that Airports came out, because Sunset Harbour seemed to be very much a sunset DLC, if you'll pardon the not really a pun, but it seemed very much like a kind of, yeah, we're finishing up development on City Skylines, thank you for all your support. Here's all like the little bits and pieces that we couldn't quite put into other DLCs. Because if I go to the store page, so we get a new industry of fishing, we get some new, so fishing, which feels like it should have been in the industry DLC, some new bus systems, which feels like it should have been in mass transit, and then the aviation club, which just feels a bit of a yeah, let's just throw it in kind of thing. So yes, anyway, if you don't have mass transit, you pass in, get that. And I highly recommend Industries. Other than that, most of the other ones are kind of up to personal preference, except for Snowfall. And then obviously you have the game on PC, if you have it on PC, which means you obviously have a load of mods. And yes, Blue Cornflower, I strongly definitely believe that there is a City Skylines 2 in development. No matter what they say, City Skylines 2 is in development, and they are going to be, hopefully, keeping in things like mass transit and airports as options that are available in the base game, sort of like how Paradox did the Crusader Kings 2 to Crusader Kings 3 transition, where instead of where City City Skylines, where Crusader Kings 2 in the base game only allowed you to play Catholic rulers, and then DLCs opened up the option for Muslim, Jewish, pagan and Eastern religions, so Hinduism, Jainism, Sikhism and Taoism. Crusader Kings 3, when it started out, actually allowed you to play all of those different religious types and had a slightly bigger world map than Crusader Kings 2 did. So they did bring forwards some of the options from the DLC. I'm still a little bit disappointed that they didn't bring through Reaper's Due. And while I'm talking and babbling on about all of that, we are running on a few brownouts in the city, so I'll just grab a couple of options. And Upasin, thank you so much, really helpful. Not a problem. I will say that I'm someone who has a little bit of an issue with complete set syndrome, so most things I do tend to buy, but I hunt around for deals anyway. So I never technically pay full price for anything, because I always check to see if it's on a little bit discount. And if it's something that I look at and it's kind of not really that interesting to me, I will honestly just wait for a sale. I think that was what happened with Snowfall, is that I liked the option, but I didn't really like it enough to buy it when it got released. So it kind of just sat in my wish list until it got discounted. And I think it honestly got discounted pretty quickly. Blue Cornflower doesn't sit right with me when publishers save normal features for DLCs. Yeah, there is always an argument to be made there, because when do you really know if something has been specifically created to be a DLC, and if it's something that, say, the development studio has decided to put in to kind of keep their development studio, or the like programmers and people, keeping them busy is a bad thing, but basically, okay, stuff like Day One DLC, where before the game's even launched, the developers and publishers are already going, it's like, hey, look at this fun stuff we're adding to the game. Don't you wish you could have it? Well, if you pre-order and buy the Super Deluxe Edition, then yes, you can. It's like that kind of stuff is always a bit, doesn't always sit right with me, because it very much feels like they've not developed it because they want to obviously keep their programmers and the development studio working on stuff. It does feel very much more like they've just decided to go and start creating DLC immediately, especially if it means that what they planned for the game has changed now that they've made one of the essential items into a Day One DLC pack. Say Mass Effect 3 and the From Ashes DLC. Initial development that's been leaked since then has shown that Javik, the character that's introduced in that DLC, was meant to play a very pivotal. There's no B in pivotal. He was meant to play a very important part in the story. Sorry. I don't know why some words trip me up like that. And Upasin, I usually do the same, but there are some exceptions if you really like the developers. Yes. I'm just actually trying to think if there's anyone that obviously I currently have games from that I would be kind of like a day one-ish purchase. Well, there are a couple that are coming to mind, but they're all like independent, like little indie development studios and indie games. So I'm not 100% sure that really count. Okay, I think I've calmed down now for mispronouncing that word. It's not usually that bad. Okay, so we actually do have a lot less congestion here, but that is probably because most of our industry got absolutely flattened when I was upgrading all of the roads to be able to better handle all of the traffic. So that will probably come back in a bit. And what do we need for the next one? 2,800, in which case we actually start getting some of our transport options. And let me just have a look. Okay, so if we want ferries, then we would need to expand out here, and it would require us to buy 2 tiles of land to start getting out to that. We could start buying across to here, because I think that is... Actually, just zoom back in. Have a look. Yes, that is a railway bridge. So we could do that and get a railway connection in. Yeah, so you don't mind like the DLCs and such for indie games, but not so much for publishers like EA. Yeah, I will say, thanks to the Xbox Game Pass, the number of like big title games that I buy has significantly gone down, because the ones that EA releases to the Game Pass I can generally wait for, and the ones that are on the premium one are usually things like FIFA, Battlefield, like all the big multiplayer games, which, yeah, don't really interest me. Pretty much the last time I played any of those was when I was working as a video game tester, and it was just something that you had to do. You got whatever game, you sat down, you tested it for 8 hours, and that was it. You packed up, went home. That's been pretty much the only time I've really played any of those types of games. Be great if I added my games wish list from Steam, for example, in the description. Yep, perfectly fine to put it in the suggestion box. That is what it's there for. I generally actually tend to keep my wish list pretty trimmed down. Let me actually just have a look at what I've got there at the moment, because most of actually what I keep an eye on, I just keep it as a follow game. Yeah. So I have, let me just see, 11 items on my wish list, and only 2 of them are actually purchasable now. One of which is The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4, which I need to play. What is it? The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky 1, 2, 3. Then Trails of Cold Steel 1, 2, 3 itself. Then I've got the Trails from Zero, Trails into Revere, and Trails to Azure games also on my wish list, which those are going to need to be played before Trails of Cold Steel 4, and is also one of the game series that I may consider actually streaming, kind of to help me get through and actually play them, because they are long games. I have got a lot of stuff I want to try and play and stream. That might be why we are having so many issues with fire. I put down a health clinic. I didn't put down a fire station. I don't have any Trails games. No, the opposite problem. I have them, I just need to play them. like I've tried playing Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky about like only 2 or 3 times, but I think it's going to be one of those games that will benefit from streaming because it will encourage me to work through the games, and then also I'll get some help when I get stuck in some areas, which I've done kind of twice before, which is why I stopped and tried starting again, which didn't work because then I just got stuck in a different point, so it didn't work too well. So Blue Cornflower, there's a fighting game with a disc shipped with the DLC content, which would only unlock when you bought the DLC online. Yeah, I think I remember about that. I want to say it was Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat 10. Mortal Kombat DLC. Yeah, it may have been. Um. Okay, now this post is related. Someone posting about they bought the physical version of Mortal Kombat 11, and then it had to download over 100 gigs because there was basically nothing on the actual disc. It just had to download everything online. Yeah, I think it may have been that one. Passing, you have a big wish list, about 200 games. Almost only games from wish lists of people you respect, usually waiting for discounts to gift them. Yeah, that makes logical sense. I tend to keep my friends list reasonably low, but there is one person I talk to where we kind of have a bit of a habit of what I call kind of revenge gifting. Like, she'll warn me in advance. Like, by the way, you may want to clean up your wish list, like ahead of things like Christmas or it's one of our birthdays. Just because obviously we start like revenge gifting. I think there was one time where I think we did about like 4 games to each other. Like she gifted me one, then I gifted her one, and we just did it like about 3 or 4 times. All like reasonably cheap games, but it was still. You can private your wish list in Steam settings. That's good to know. Like I said, most of the stuff that I actually keep an eye on, I just tick as a followed game on Steam rather than specifically putting it on my wish list. Blue Cornflower. Wait, you gifted games that they wanted, not horrible ones like Bad Rats? Yes, we gift games to each other that we would actually enjoy. As bizarre as it may seem, we actually gift games to each other that the other person would enjoy. For instance, one of the games that she gifted me was Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3, which was 50% off, which I feel a bit guilty about because I hadn't played the previous ones. Yeah, when I say revenge gifting, revenge in inverted quotation marks. Kind of like throw a game at her and it's like, here, enjoy your Christmas. Okay, so unfortunately we are running out of power pretty majorly, and we don't have any money to buy a new station. So I'm gonna take a loan, and if I remember where the power option is, I'm going to buy a coal power plant, as much as I hate using this because we just need that power. So we were producing 33, so we've now gone up to 73. That should keep us going for a good while. Let's just check our waters. Water is all good, and we can put down some more roads and residential sections. Change it from upgrade to actually building. And yes, because I did actually link the person in the description, if you actually want to see someone who really knows what they're doing when it comes to city skylines, you can look at City Planner Plays, and then also there is Pippa, who is another English streamer, but not streamer, but YouTuber, content creator, and they do quite a bit of city skylines and building various cities and whatnot. If you're interested in seeing some actual people who know more what they're doing and actually watching them play the game. And yeah, I always find it's nice to gift someone a game, and then it's like 2 days later you see a little thing pop up saying that such and such is playing such and such, because you know that it's been something that they've been wanting to play for quite a while. Oh, that would be why they're complaining about power, because there is no connection. I am really distracted today. Oh wow. Not like I've got anything important to do. So that should help us with that. And I think also we want another little fire station. About there will do, and that should cover most of that. And one more here. Basically trying to make the most of that loan that we've taken out. We've only got about 14,000. We do have a school, so I think I will leave that for the moment. We can get a high school when we get a bit more money. And Upasin asks, like, how do I define a friendship? Okay, I'm gonna preface this with saying it's a bit complex for me to define, because I don't think I really have a set definition. So the person that I was talking about, that we were doing the game gifting, I knew her and a couple of other people for about 3 or 4 years before we actually met in person. But even then, I still considered all of them as friends. And we need a bit of water, so we'll actually get a proper water system up and connect that to the grid. So I don't define friendship by any means of like actually physically seeing and meeting and knowing someone. Relationships and communication that you have like exclusively online can be just as good and valid as real life friendships. You're complaining about not enough customers. Well, if more people moved in, if I zoned more areas, more people would move in. But yeah, I start to consider people friends when we've been talking for a reasonable length of time. That is probably something that let me just have a look. So I don't know, it kind of depends on like or obviously how long I've known the person, how often we've been chatting and interacting. Because obviously, for me at least, power, it needs power. Uh, uh, okay, yeah, it has varying quantification because it depends on how long I've known someone, how often we chat and interact. If I'm chatting to someone like pretty regularly, like minimum I'd say 3-4 times a week, if we continue that communication for about 3 months, I think, then I start to consider them a friend, even if they don't necessarily think the same in reverse. But, that's fine. Different people define friendships as different things anyway. I do have a weakness for when strangers give me gifted subs like a dog gives them food. Yes, I can imagine that because obviously it's like someone gives you a sub to a streamer that you're both watching. It's very much a situation where it's like, oh, I enjoy this person and I'm subbed. You also seem to enjoy this person and you very much would like seem like you would enjoy a subscription to them as well. And yeah, okay, we're getting a bit of build up here. Some of it is because of the landfill. So it might be worth actually putting one up on the main street where I've kept things empty. Unfortunately, we can't move this because it needs to be emptied first. Which, it makes sense. It's just a little bit aggravating. Okay, so that will do some water pollution. Wait, is that... Okay, no, that is running... Okay. At a sudden moment then is like, is that going... Has that affected our water supply? Blue Cornflower, all the emotes that you use are from gifted subs. People are so nice. Yes. Yes, they are. People can be so nice. And it's like, I watch a few kind of like Twitch streams on demand, like either Twitch itself or where people put it up on YouTube, which I have been sorely lacking in. Okay, so we can empty this one out into this one, and then we'll be able to move this one across to here. And it's always nice when it's like you watch someone streaming and then all of a sudden it's like such and such has gifted 10 subs. It's like, okay, wow. Because obviously it's a nice gift for the person who's streaming, and then it's obviously also a nice gift for the person who's been given the sub because they may not be able to afford it otherwise. And it's just nice all round. So you are still complaining about water. They say you should be connected up. Nope, you are not. Let's just rectify that quickly. Boomtown, population 2,800. So we can start getting our... think of the right word. Transport. Okay, so where will we actually gain the option for airports? Because we've just unlocked... Oh, there we go. New features. Airport areas. So, despite the fact that we are a tiny, tiny town, let's have a look. Because this is what the DLC is all for. So here we go. Airport area. Paint an airport area using the airport area tool. Place a terminal. Place a terminal, aircraft stands, and a runway to build an airport from modular parts. Taxiways connect aircraft stands with the runway to avoid accidents. These are one-way only. Provide great creative freedom regarding the layout of an airport and can have aircraft stands for both passenger and cargo planes. Buildings such as airline lounges and other decorative buildings increase an airport area's attractiveness score, attracting more passengers and tourists. Leveling up unlocks more buildings and eventually the option to found your own airline, which generates income from selling tickets to airport passengers. So because we have all of these, these are going to increase and unlock as we obviously build up our airport. Blue cornflower, you're only like a dog when someone gives you the sub directly. If you get it from a gift sub bomb, you're still grateful, but much less. Yeah, I can understand that, because obviously if it's given to you specifically, then it's a if you'll pardon the phrase, a little bit of a notice me senpai thing, that you have been noticed. Whereas if it's a gift sub bomb, it's pretty much of a, have I just been kind of picked out just because I don't have a sub, rather than it being for me specifically. So here we go, paint an airport area. So one thing that I did see was that apparently you need to make sure it's in quite a flat area. I'm not sure how true that needs to be, but I'm going to start putting it here. There we go. So that is going to be at least the start of our airport. And that is going to connect into our industrial area. So here we go. And unfortunately, it looks like we can't afford the initial bits. So ultra modern. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. 170,000 for the terminal. 130 for these ones. 75 for the classic. Oh my goodness. You checked out a video on YouTube. Wind turbines sound like the hum of white noise. Not too bad. Well, I guess it's one of the things if you like white noise. So we need an airport terminal before we can do anything. So we'd need to put this. Yeah, so we'd need to obviously put it into the actual airport area that we have. So we need to save up a little bit of money. White noise drowns out neighbours and stuff. Well, yeah, that is one of the reasons it is used. And of course, speaking of our industry, we have got space for a new section. Let's build it in there and try and avoid too much that is actually directly on that main road, which is a big problem that I did with this landfill site, is that I put it at a kind of big major junction, which I really shouldn't have done. It might actually be an idea to remove. Not quite sure. We'll keep an eye on that garbage area and see how it goes. Actually want to have a look at things. And yes, we now have the option to look at the land value. So we can see here that in the industrial area, the land value is basically almost worthless because no one wants to live there. And then we kind of start coming into the outskirts of the residential and commercial zones. So we go from basically white, meaning low, a good deep blue is like average. Like, you'll get people move in there. They won't be too happy, but they won't be too unhappy either. And then bright green is what you want to aim for if you want to have your really, really good areas. So for instance here, this is slowly trickling over to green, and we can see that we've got a slight increase to level 2 on these buildings. That one's a bit more as well. That's a medical clinic. That's not going to upgrade. This one is probably going to upgrade pretty soon, and this one already has. So we've got a level 2 building here. So if I click away from that, and this one is almost level 2 itself. So we can see that we have the level 1 buildings, which are all 1 story, and then the level 2 ones are starting to get quite a bit taller. Oh, I just spotted a little level up sign. So there we go. This one has gotten, or this one has gotten enough points to start developing and building up. There we go. We can see that how it compares to the previous one, and that's how it pretty much all goes. So you basically want to try and aim for high land values if you really want to get the big areas of your city. So blue cornflower stayed near a train depot once. Checking trains, the screeching brakes were comfy and nice though. That's, well, a unique scenario, but I'm saying that in a nice way. Apparently we actually had some of our... one of our power lines got disconnected, but that's okay because we don't actually need these anymore. And we have some people who are sick. Oh no, a dead person is waiting for transport. Because I am not keeping up on things. So we've got elder care, child health centre. Okay, we do not have nearly enough people for a crematorium. So a regular graveyard it is. Now where is this going to go? I think... yeah, I think here. So we're going to have some people who are not necessarily that happy to be living right next to a cemetery, but in general it's going to make the general populace happier because there's going to actually be a place to bury our dead and they're not going to have to be stuck in an urn on the bookshelf. Blue cornflower might have been comfy because it wasn't that close, so it was very quiet. I imagine it was quite a regular... excuse me, I'm getting a bit stuffy. Like a regular kind of repeating noise, so almost white noise in a sense that you have the gradual ebb and flow of things. And you like living near cemeteries, it's quiet. Yeah, I can imagine it is. You don't really have people around to bother you, unless of course you've got some ghosts around. Oh, and we have one of the commercial stores upgrading. So the low density commercial buildings can only go up to level 3, so they will build up a bit more, but not so much as compared to the level 5 that the low density residentials can go to. I think the high density can go up to 6, I want to say, but we're still a fair ways off of that anyway. Okay, so we probably need some more extension. And let's go once more up here. Even the train breaks were like several minutes and white noise like. Probably applied it gently over a longer distance to be quieter. Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say, is that it would have been in a regular basis, so people would have been like used to it in a sense. And there's more stuff there, and let's... no, we don't want to create too many junctions like that. We want to try and keep them as regular as we can. Because obviously if they're staggered about, we're going to have people continually stopping and starting in terms of driving around and getting to junctions. One of the things that we necessarily would like to avoid. Let's go here and move across a tiny bit, so more here. And that is not going to be able to cover all of them, unfortunately. So we'll do that and one across there. Not quite under the roads. Okay, good. Emptying has finished. So we can relocate it to next to that one. And we could say stop or stop emptying out. Our water tower, how is our water availability? That is doing good, so we could probably just demolish this water tower. We still have all of the pipes and such working, so that's good to see. And more residential needed. So I think for a moment, seeing as we want a bit of money towards the airport, just going to increase taxes a tiny bit. Where is our other loan? So we can take that for 20,000. So that gives us most of the way there. Put it on high speed and then we will see where we are in a short while. So we have also, under the transport options, we've unlocked the buses. We have the trams, which I said was with the Snowfall DLC. So obviously these are ones where you have to redo your road network in a sense. Ferries, taxis, tours, and then you also have a bunch of public transportation hubs. So for instance, like here, metro, monorail and train hub. So you can connect all three of those once you have a large enough population. There's like the... So we do have like these international airports and metropolitan airports, which are ones that were obviously there before the newly released airports DLC. So which is the one that I usually use? Yeah, here we go. The bus and metro hub is the one that I tend to use because buses and metros are the ones that I use the most. We do have an intercity bus hub as well. Okay, that is on maximum speed. Okay, I think as much as roundabouts are usually helpful in these situations, I'm going to be removing it and we're going to be putting in a more standard four-way junction just to try and get things moving a bit more. That's not going to join up nicely. If we move that down there, and hopefully motorways, a highway ramp. Let's do that and that. And that's a two-way, that's two-lane. There we go, that's the one we want for here. So we now have one lane going straight this way, and then we have one lane going that way. That should help with the traffic flow issue. Ideally, no one should be coming off here and then going across here. So if I had some mods, I'd probably be using like a move it to bring the intersection down to here, because this right turn / U-turn is just going to be completely useless. And what I want to do is I click on this road and we want that. Yes, indeed. So that is going to be a priority road. And junctions. So yep, stop signs there rather than traffic lights. And yeah, this was what I was thinking that I couldn't quite find earlier. We'll put stop signs there and there. And most of these, honestly, you do not really need traffic lights, so the fact that the game puts it all in by default is a little bit aggravating. We want stop sign, stop sign. So that may have been why the traffic was backing up a little bit there, because we had all of these traffic lights where we didn't need them to be. And then, yes, down here we want stop signs. Basically, we just want to make sure that the big roads, like the big main roads like this one, have full priority so that people can zip around and use them to get where they want to go a lot easier. So I'll do some more stop signs on these intersections. Like so. And then This will be the last little bit, and then we can see if this clears up any of the traffic issues. Hopefully it does, because I am missing traffic manager. Okay, and let's have a look once more. So yes, brown is trucks, green is pedestrians, so we're getting a fair few people actually walking around, and cyclists as well. That is always nice to see. Purple is private vehicles, that is people who are driving anyway. Average traffic flow, we are at 93%. Yes, this is another one of these slightly annoying issues. So let's have a look. So you should be able to just merge in. Okay, yeah, they're not quite following this. But unticking that seems to have cleared a bit up here. And then this seems to be going okay. And yeah, so we've obviously done all of the traffic light issues around there as well. So we shouldn't need to put a priority road. That is just basically a shortcut for it to put the stop signs on automatically. And how are we doing? Still no one's really wanting to move in. Even though we've cleared all this up, I'm just wondering where they are going. Oh, I didn't zone this. That would be why. That would be why they're not really moving in, because there's no real area to move into. It's like nicely built, all these new sections all ready for people to move into, but nope, not at all. They are not going to move in anywhere. It's probably worth removing those little bits. Make that a bit of residential and remove that, because the less we have on this main road, the better it is going to honestly be for traffic management, because they are not going to be coming up here and stopping, with the exception of these garbage trucks. They're not going to be coming up here and stopping. There's not going to be parking, hopefully. And we're also probably going to be wanting to look into getting a bus station of some kind. But first, airport. So classic airport terminal. And let's actually try and line it up a bit. So we'll put that there, and boom. We have our metropolitan airport has reached level 1. So we have a couple of things for actual use. So we've got a small hangar, control tower, budget airport, hotel. And then we've got some decorative items with these parked planes and an airport bus station and a small aircraft stand. So what we also want to do is come over here and actually... Okay, that created its own district anyway, so never mind. So we will just continue over here and drag that. And hopefully those wind turbines aren't going to be too affected. So yes, you can see here that where I'm trying to expand the airport section, it's actually dragging down the soil here. So here we go, landscaping tools. So we can come across here and we can choose just to soften this up a bit, just to make it less harsh. Do a little bit of landscaping. And that is slope terrain. So level, we don't really want to do that too much. Oh, especially not like that. Especially not too much like that. Oh, whoops. Okay, so click for a target area, target height, and whoop. You didn't see that. You didn't see that, people. Agreed? Agreed. Oh, goodness. Okay, yeah, so I am trying to level this out a bit. I think we're actually moderately okay. There's not too huge gaps in all of this. I just undo my error here. And get that back up. Select about there, and there we go. Okay, that's probably about good enough for me. Yeah, so the topography is, it looks harsh here, but I think that's honestly just where the banding goes and indicates that there's a little bit of a bump up. We'll pass in. I hope you become an affiliate soon. Well, it's my end of year goal to become an affiliate, which I know sounds like an awful long time, but this is something that I'm doing on my own free time. So if it takes me a while to get to affiliate status, then it just will take a while, even though it is a bit or slightly disappointing. Not okay, disappointing is the wrong word, but is that I did see on Twitter earlier someone saying, it's like, oh my god, I reached affiliate after 1 week of streaming. I was like, okay, either you managed, you picked something that was incredibly popular and you just happened to just get quite a large following and such just because, or you managed to somehow wrangle a load of people in to watch you specifically. Okay, so let me actually take a moment to read these because I want to do it all properly. Okay, runway. A place where airplanes take off and land. Yep. Have a minimum length and show indications for best taxiway connections while placing taxiways. And then the taxiway, use this between runways and aircraft stands. All taxiways are one-way roads. And this is a small aircraft stand. Passengers board and leave via this building. And then we put down a terminal and connect on courses, which is this thing here. Connect to airport terminals, concourse hubs, and aircraft stand. Okay. Ah, okay, got it. Right, so that goes through. Right, okay, so I get that. It is quite interesting seeing all of this, because I actually used to live very, very close to a big airport. So we could actually put a budget airport hotel in as well. So seeing all of this stuff actually as airport things is fairly interesting to see. So we'll do this across here, and let's do it there. And then let's build a taxiway. So yes, okay, this does actually connect down from here. Or not. Okay, so if we do a taxiway down to about here, that's one way. Actually, no, I'm going to undo that, do a new one, because obviously this is going to be a one-way system, so we need to make sure that we have enough space for something on the way back. And then similarly, we need a taxiing system there, and then there. So let's see, so comes up here and then can go around and then back down. And let's put okay, so this may be a bit of an issue because I've put this. Okay, yes, we're going to need to definitely expand this area. And not enough money. Oh well, we'll just wait for a bit more to trickle in. So Upasin, you think I'll reach affiliate sooner? That will be nice to happen. And yeah, hopefully it is one of, or like my end of year goal, even if I don't actually accept affiliate status, I still want to obviously have the stats up there. 50 followers, 3 average viewers. At the moment, at least, it's the 3 average viewers, which is going to be the slight, not really an issue, because I think it's partly my fault because I keep on kind of chopping and changing what games I choose. So people aren't necessarily kind of coming in and sticking around for one particular one. Okay, and then we could probably do, yep, one there. Why can you not connect to a runway? Okay, this... Right, okay, I'm going to pause this for a moment and actually have a look. Because this is coming down. And let's put on the freeform tool. And just basically try and play around and see what's going to happen. And okay, no, I can't connect it there. It says shows indication for best. Okay, is that this bit then? Nope. Oh, got it. Okay, I can see it. It's the blue arrows. Oops. Oh dear. And I put those two close together to appropriately have an option. Oh, this is all a learning experience. This is all a learning experience. But anyway, so 3,600. Yep. We could do that. And then... Okay, yes, we can just about get it into the city. Yes, there we go. So now what I want to do is create a little section into here. Okay, one more thing. Okay, we can't actually purchase that. I... okay, one other thing. delete all of these, because we should have more than enough electricity from that coal station. Get rid of all of that and delete these. So then we can do concourse, runway, concourse, runway, yes. So we should be able to do it that way. And obviously we want to make sure we have this in our section as well. There we go, that seems to be a lot better, and just connect that up. So yeah, sorry about this kind of taking a while. I've just been obviously trying to focus where things are going to be going. So if I put that up there, so that's 2,700, and then we can curve it around a little bit more. Yep. So we actually have a bit of money coming in. So this can behave. And then back down here, 2,700. And then once again, curve it around a bit. There we go. Okay, so that is just about connected. Then we can do... Oh. Okay, I don't know why that one started to be a bit... There we go. Yep, that will fit in there absolutely perfectly. So then we can have one runway going that direction, one runway going the opposite direction, and then we can connect it all up and actually create a little hub, maybe around the top right area. And because I deleted all of those wind turbines, we are a little bit low on energy. So how much would that actually give us? 17 megawatts if we put it down here. So we will need, what is it, 12,000? Yeah. So people are going to have to wait a little bit for the blackouts. And actually what we're going to do is... let's just reduce the price or taxes a little bit. So hopefully that will encourage people to stay a tiny bit longer, though it doesn't look like it's going to work. And unfortunately, it's going to be a while before we can get a new loan. That is going to cost us a lot of money. Whoops. A bit too eager, a bit too ambitious. Let's just say that. Ah, that was the word I wanted to use. Like a flavour DLC. So I definitely think, or at least initially, airports is going to be in my list of what I consider flavour DLCs, in that they add interest and develop an aspect of the city, but aren't going to change it in any major way. Okay, the city is on the brink of bankruptcy. If none of the above measures are not, if the above measures are not enough, which they are not, you can take a bailout. Yes, let's take a bailout. So we can fit in another coal power plant. And that should be more than enough to help us out with energy. Yep. So Oh my goodness, look at all those abandoned houses. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. This is not good. Oh dear. Anyway, okay, well. Oh, well, this section of the town is still okay. It's all the kind of old town areas. I think what we need to do is this is potentially going to destroy a couple of places that are still actually or still have people living in there. No, this is not due to district policies. This is due to severe mismanagement and me not paying attention to enough things. Because basically what happened is I deleted a bunch of wind turbines to try and make space for the airport runway, and I didn't pay attention to how much energy the wind turbines were giving us, so we lost loads of power and people just have fled the city en masse. And I will get to that comment of yours, Upasin, in a moment. I'm just busy trying to avoid this place looking like no one lives here. So by removing all of these houses as well, it is making the ones that remain happier, and also, naturally speaking, will mean that it frees up space for more people to move in, which means that we'll be able to get a bit more, start to get money in once again. And of course we also do have some city infrastructure as well that we wouldn't necessarily have if we just completely started over. Okay, so we are almost at the last little sections. I am just so glad that this is a click and drag option to get rid of all of these buildings. Why is it that whenever I try and build a city in City Skylines, something always goes wrong? Because I never think about things like that. Okay, so anyway, that has demolished all of that, and we now have a load of new people moving in. There's a couple of spots that are complaining about not enough electricity. Oh, that's a firehouse, they can't move out anyway. So passing Paradox Games turns cultured people with a kind heart into cruel tyrants who squeeze the last drops out of the people. Yes, and I would like to add to that, also Rimworld and Dwarf Fortress. I think it's like considered the holy trifecta is Crusader Kings 2 / Crusader Kings 3, Rimworld, and Dwarf Fortress. And I played 2 out of 3. So you can envision how things go in my household when I'm playing some of them. So one thing we do want to add is a little bit of a water connection to our airport. We'll move that across there and just connect it up to there. And you are obviously complaining you don't have a road connection, which we will sort out, no problem. Not that you're complaining about a road connection, but more obviously complaining that there's no facilities for recycling available to you. So we will do the free hand tool and connect you up. And there we go. So it's gone from basically a corner around there to having a little bit of a pathway into the airport itself, though there's, as we can see, not much in, and we are starting to make money again. There we go. That has been crisis pretty much averted. And we can pay that loan. So we now have potentially 20,000 we can take in a pinch if we need it. Some of our industry has been abandoned, probably because they had a sudden lack of employees working there. Yeah, we can see a couple of them with the red backgrounds are really starting to complain. Upassin, I played a lot in RimWorld and spent some time in Dwarf Fortress, so I can completely agree. Yeah, I've tried playing Dwarf Fortress before, and admittedly I'm not sure if it was the interface or something that I couldn't get on with, but I just bounced off it. It's not the ASCII art or anything like that, because I've played a couple of other games in that vein, and those were like, once I got past the initial getting used to it phase, everything went perfectly fine, and I was able to quote see what all of the icons and things meant, so it couldn't have necessarily been that, I don't think. So I've got the Steam version on my wish list, so I'll be keeping an eye on that when it comes out and seeing what comes of it. So because we have a bit of a request for commercial, I'm going to be deleting a couple of our residential sections and creating sort of like local little shop areas. Like, these are like what they were called when I grew up, were like the top shops, basically like the shops at the top of the road. Ooh, there we go. We've got some level 2 buildings here. So we've got a pharmacy, organic foods, organic foods, organic foods. There's a lot of demand for organic foods apparently. Drugstore, we've got this one that's upgrading, so a neighbourhood shop. So we can see how that's all going. In real life, you feed the starved people with your own food. In RimWorld, you feed them with your neighbours. Yes. I admit I never really go into the cannibal mode too much, but yes, the age-old memes of human meat and human leather clothing. I think there were quite a few people a bit annoyed when changes came through, and suddenly, unless your character was or had the psychopath trait, I think it was, unless they had that, they would be very unhappy wearing clothes made out of other people. So anyway, we do have some more money back. So let's once again create our runway there. And let's create our other runway here. We want to try and keep this a little bit smaller so we can then do paths in and out without too much fuss. There we go. So yes, so they want to come in as early as possible, and then they want to go out as late as possible. Then okay, that is being a bit fussy. Quite sure why. Okay, that works. So let's see if we can actually change that around a bit later. Yes, there we go. Okay, so we have put an entrance in, just don't have a method out unless we try curving it. Ooh, yes. Yes. Okay, we've got one. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't quite expecting that. Okay, so we want to. Yeah, I wonder why that plane decided that they needed to be here, because obviously there's no terminal or anything. We're still trying to build all of that. Okay, yep, there we go. So then we can connect that up to there. So and we want one that is around here. So let's do from that section. Nope, you're not going to like that. Okay, there we go. So you like okay with that one. So then we can come down here. And this is an absolute mess. I'm aware of that. This is an absolute mess. I'm aware. Okay, so let me just take a moment and actually have a look. Okay, so yes, we can loop around there. Upasin, multi-layered cities. You're going to have to give me a bit of detail on what you're specifically meaning by that. I'm not 100% sure. Come down, yeah. And okay, yep, we can connect it into this section. Okay, that is an absolute horrible, horrible mess, but it works. Okay, so let me just see. So the planes can come through all the way here, all the way there, then they can come down here. Nope, because then they will just be kicked back up there. Okay, so they can come down here, then they can come through here, then they can come back there, or they can go up here and then... Okay, I think that works. I think that works. So an aircraft stand, planes arrive and depart from this section. Okay, so we can get 1, 2... Okay, so we can get 4 across there. Then it looks like... Yes, this is a lot harder. This is a lot harder to think and plan out than it looks. Okay, so let's do that down there. Actually, if we are doing that, we probably don't need this big section. Yeah, actually we don't need this one. And then we can... do I know the concept of a hive city? Not specifically. I can estimate, obviously, based on the name. That obviously it's something, or potentially something inspired by like bees and beehives. Okay, so let's pick a point. Okay, so we start. So we come off here, and then we go up. And we can come down here, and then we can go here and fly, and then we can come back and... Okay, I'm going to say that's good enough, because I am going to have to look at this at some other point, because this is just becoming a catastrophic mess. Okay, so what else do we have available to us? An airport bus station, placed directly into a concourse inside an airport area to allow direct connection for bus passengers to the airport. So that will need to be placed on a concourse. Can I send an image? Yes, let me just have a look. And don't think I've got any blocks in terms of not being able to send links. So if you want to try sending it to me just on the chat, and if that doesn't work, I'll get it up. If you send it through to my Twitter account, then I can... Oh, okay, no, that's just a couple of people responding to my tweet. But yes, if you want to try and just send it through regular chat, and if that doesn't work, just send it through Twitter, and I'll obviously inevitably pick it up. Oh, okay, that's nice. So we can actually make a concourse that is... Oh, that basically goes like that. And then we can add to... Hey, why are you being a bit... Oh! I say, why are you being a bit fussy? There we go. Okay, there we go. So that works. And we can connect it into things. Blue Cornflower, love RimWorld. I know a ton of tips and tricks. Stopped playing before the DLCs came out. Yeah, or the okay, apparently I do have a block for the image things. Let me see. It's... yeah. It's honestly going to be better and quicker just to send it through. Oh wait, there we go. Okay, nope, actually I found it. Okay, try again, Upasin. Okay, anyway, we need 25,000 for that, and we'll obviously need to link it in as well. But we have our airport, even if it looks a bit wonky and iffy, and it's right next to an industrial area that's spewing out smoke, but we have it, and we have it only about 2.5 years in. 40k. Oh, is that I'm going to really embarrass myself if this isn't true. Warhammer 40k or a different one? Because admittedly, all of my Warhammer 40k knowledge is once again video game testing, where I had a random... I'm not even sure which game it was, but I was sat down to play a Warhammer 40k game, and yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was in for. Blue Cornflower, didn't know you were a game tester. Was it an RTS? No, it was a first-person shooter thing. I'm not a games tester anymore. This was like a short stint that I did a few years ago. So pretty much if you kind of look at when it was... Oh, so pretty much it would be a game that was released around potentially 2018. Pass in, no worries. Just let me know when you're back. So let me have a look. So year publish. Oh yeah, Warhammer Vermintide was also, oh, Vermintide 2 was one of the ones that I tested out. Okay, there we go. Warhammer 40,000. Gosh, there's a lot of video games released in the series. I okay, yeah, I have no idea which one it would be. Um, let me have a look. Space Hulk, Deathwing, you clear out spaceships against Zerg-type monsters. Yeah, that may have been it. Yeah, so obviously some of the things that I did video game testing for was like they added, say, like a new DLC, and we needed things to be checked to make sure it didn't just completely break everything. Some of them were obviously games that were yet to be released, that were coming in to be tested and such. So we had quite a varied number of games there. Like, we seriously had everything from tiny games made by little indie studios all the way up to your big publishers with your big name titles and everything. I still like the first day that I actually went there. I'm pretty sure it was a first person one. So Space Hulk Deathwing sounds like it would fit the bill. But I am talking like a good number of years ago, so. And I was only on it for one day anyway, so it's kind of disappeared into the depths of where you tend to forget things anyway. Yeah, Space Hulk Deathwing released in 2016. Yeah, there may have been like an update or something that meant that it came back into testing, so we could basically tick it off and make sure it was all running as it should be. But yeah, the very first like proper day I actually spent there, I was sat down. So this was like actually Microsoft what's the word? Ugh. Basically Microsoft subcontracted the testing to a couple of groups, and like I was employed by one of those groups. So we had like a full proper like what they called the games lab. So it's like all fully locked down. And it's like you had passes that could only get you into the lab like during specific hours. And it's like before you went to break, everything had to be locked up. If you had the like disc version of the game, that had to be locked in. All of the consoles themselves were locked down, and you had people coming around and inspecting to make sure nothing was missing at the end of the day. Because yeah, like the way they had it all set up was that they have, or this is what they had back then, was that you could, or they had like the specific game testing server set up. So the idea was that it was on like an internet system, but it was locked down, so only like authorized consoles and personnel could actually access it. And they had basically every single game that was ever available or was planned to be available for the Xbox system. No, we didn't have to go through metal detectors, but we basically were not allowed to carry anything through with us. So any keys, obviously phones, were a no-no. And pretty much the implication was if you got caught with something like that, you were out immediately. It wasn't an intranet system, no, because we actually had to connect to external servers. But I'm sure there's a load of technical stuff that was going on in the background to make sure that only these specific consoles and this specific section could do it. How did they make sure that we didn't have recording devices? Unless you were one of the test leads, you didn't have access to the internet aside from downloading the games. So the only way you would be able to get footage or anything out was if you took a phone in or something similar with a camera and held it up to the monitor. And if you did that, it was very, very obvious that you were doing so. So yeah, it was all very, like, a very, very interesting time. And yeah, I'm sure in terms of like checking for like recording and smuggling things out, I'm sure they had things that they knew that they'd be looking out for. And we need a bit more electricity. And my cat, hello Ollie, yes, thank you. My cat decided to come around and have a bit of an investigation of my desk, which is very nice and cute, not quite when I'm wanting to try and do stuff. Okay, so we need even more residential, so let's just continue up with this all the way to the top, like so, and then we can start branching off sections once more. But yeah, so security was pretty tight. Like, I think there was, gosh, I'm trying to think. There was one time where I needed to go back into the lab for a reason that eludes me currently, and it was like 5 minutes past. It was like 5 minutes past the hour. I tried to tap in to go into the lab. I just, nope, wouldn't let me through. Security was that tight. Yeah, it was quite a lot of fun, quite an interesting experience, if nothing else. And I was very fortunate the first day that I actually went to work there, because I got sat down in front of, so you had like assigned seating, which like testing zone you were in and which seat you were going to be in. So anyway, my first day in, as I sat down, go in, have a look, I have in front of me a 4K monitor, and the game on the docket for me for the day was FIFA. So I got to play FIFA on the Xbox One X, because Microsoft were starting to get things together for the Xbox One X rollout release. So I got to play on an Xbox One X on a 4K monitor and just sat there and play FIFA, because the position that I was in, the seating, it was basically to check for 4K gaming capabilities. Do I like FIFA games? Aside from that, I've only really ever played one when I was a child, but it's kind of just the fact that I walk in and the very first game I test is a major game release like FIFA. Most of what I was playing, I was actually testing the what was it called, like the story career mode, which was continuing on from the previous version of the game. So it's like your character was trying to be like one of the new up and coming players for like Manchester City or something like that. So it's quite nice to see it all in development. But I just could not believe that that was the first game I got asked to test. Okay, so we probably want a few other little bits and pieces. Let's put down some kind of basketball court. But yeah, FIFA with the like the ultimate players thing, where it's basically loot boxes that you have to open to try and even get some of the best players, is just not something I really want to consider. One of the other big games was Fortnite, and this was actually while they still had the I think it was like the single player story mode going on. Yeah, Fortnite, way back when, had a single player story mode. So that was interesting to actually kind of play it and see the beginnings of that. So yeah, like I said, we had everything from the big AAA games from the top-notch publishers to tiny little development games. Oh, there goes a plane. And probably going to take off again. Yep, there we go, because obviously there's no real facilities down here. So yeah, if you look up, let me actually see if there is anything on it on YouTube. Fortnite. So yeah, Fortnite Save the World. Yeah, apparently it looks like it's still around. Apparently it looks like it might still be around. What is the Fortnite law anyway? I have no clue. Like, all I really remember from it was obviously just playing the kind of story campaign. I think it may have involved aliens, but I'm not 100% sure. And then it was kind of just messing around in the online multiplayer mode, opening a bunch of loot boxes. Because we were testing the system, we could get them all for free. So it's like, set them up, opened a few, and it's like, did a bit of testing like for the language stuff and making sure it was appropriate. And then I don't think there was anything much else. Or if there was, it wasn't part of my responsibility. Because, like I alluded to, so each, or you had like your assigned spaces, for lack of a better word, and each one had its own specific areas that they needed to test. So, for instance, you would have like one person slash position was set up so that they would be focused on the multiplayer section, which, if the game never had multiplayer included in it, was really good, because all you needed to do then was just do what was called stability testing, which was secret code for, yeah, here, sit down, play the game for 8 hours, and just notify us if anything breaks. Essentially. Just notify us if anything else breaks. Because obviously you had some things where there was the potential for an update to completely black out or crash a section and you wouldn't actually know about it until you got there. Like there was one game which, you know, not gonna name names, but there was one game that was an RPG, and after about an hour when we sat down, what are you complaining about? Not enough customers. Anyway, so about an hour after we sat down, we got some news in that apparently there was a bug where if you got to a specific boss battle and you lost, the game would crash. So we had to, or we had a couple of testing groups on that one. So we had to try and rush towards that section because it was like about 6-7 hours into the gameplay, and as far as I know we only had that one day to test it, so we just had everyone rushing to try and complete it, which was yeah, surprisingly most other people that I worked with when they did video game testing, it's like when they left at the end of the day they just had no interest in playing any games on their off time. Whereas for me, it was more of a like, or it was more of an instance where it's like I'd be there playing something, and then I'd think like, oh, I fancy going home and playing like RimWorld or Crusader Kings 2, because those kinds of like in-depth strategy and simulation games surprisingly weren't really something that we got many games of those genres in. So anyway, I'm building up a new section for another industry bit, which is going to be a little bit frustrating because unfortunately we're not going to be able to connect this with the other one. So I may actually make this into a specific industry zone. Probably, I think maybe... annoyingly, there's a huge patch of land over here. So we've got oil over here, we've got agriculture over here, but unfortunately I've obviously been building the residential stuff. I've got ore as well up here. So I should, I think, have the sections for oil and ore to be unlimited rather than running out after a certain amount of time, because that, I can understand why it's limited, but it just frustrates me in the game because it gets to a point where I get to... Excuse me a moment. With okay, I'm going to mute my microphone for a moment. Okay, that should resolve it for a bit. Obviously I know why the ore and oil is set as limited, but it just frustrates me because I just get to a point where I build up all of this industry and then I just end up in a situation where, yeah, okay, now I have to just completely relocate it because there's no more resources available for it. So anyway, paint an industry area. Yes, we will go along and do this. Basically make sure that our airport is completely surrounded by industry. So industrial specialization. So no, actually we don't want to do that. what we want to do is come over here and do a forest industry. We need 20,000 for that. So as much as it's going to be a bit of a pain, we'll select that and we'll put this right there so we can start developing. I keep on forgetting about this. This is one of the issues because you have your standard kind of zoning areas, which are, so say if I put a section here and said this is agriculture, then it would put specific agricultural sections in. Whereas some of the DLCs add in something different, and I can never quite remember which way around it is. So hopefully once we start getting this industry section in, we'll be able to start getting a bit more money and we can actually connect up our airport. Because we desperately need that to make sure that people are actually visiting. Because otherwise building the whole airport is a bit of a waste. And apparently we are running low on electricity once again. Why are you needing so much? Right. And yes, I'm aware that I could save a little bit of money without necessarily needing to continuously connect all the items up. Let's actually see how this is doing. So classic airport terminal, airport info. Oh, we have actually had I was going to say we actually have had some visitors. Apparently it's cost us almost 1,500 credits. So what policies can we have? Hotel discounts, great maintenance, and car rentals. So what is great maintenance? Add a land value bonus. Okay. And then here we go. We have a section where we could level up an airport, or we can create our own airline by getting up to level 3. So what are we honestly missing from this section? I think it is just a hotel. So airport buildings. So we've got the terminal and we've got a concourse. We need a control tower. That would be useful. Hi, and this is all really needing so much money. So that's a modern style 1 and ultra modern. The landing area and aircraft stands, so those are just medium ones, so we've got everything we need there. Yeah, there we go, decoration buildings. So we've got hangars, airports, and like I said, those parked planes are also decoration. Public transport options, airport bus station, elevated metro, and a train station. And then for air cargo, which we need to get to. Okay, on level 3. Right, rather than level 5. And then some miscellaneous, which is fencing, aviation museum, and airline headquarters. So yes, we need a control tower. We don't need, from the looks of it, any hotels in the specific area. That looks like it just increases the interest, as in the visual interest and land value, rather than interest as in interest payments. Yes, I know we've got a few rolling brownouts around. 19,000. Well, we are creeping up on the next milestone. We're getting a few more people in. If we could just about do that. How many do we need for this? 8,000. So we are about over halfway. But it is going to take us a while because we don't really have the funds necessary, because we've had this huge airport that I needed to build. Hey, pass in, welcome back. Yeah, hope your puppies are doing well. hope they're well fed and happy. And yeah, no worries that it took that you had to do a few other things. Okay, so like I said, we needed a control tower. How much? So 65,000. Ugh. So the best I can do is just honestly wait for the population to trickle in. There is no way we're going to be able to get that. We need a population of 22,000 to take the top loan. So unfortunately we don't have enough money to pay one off and then immediately retake it with the higher loan amount. The only one we could do that for is, well, the 20,000 one, roughly, and that will not help us get there at all. So we have enough money to put down some industry building. Do I want to do that? So, well, okay, we can put a couple of these down and we'll actually get some resources that we can send like out of the city. Now, did I actually... Oh, okay, no, I wasn't quite sensible enough on this road. So we need to move that one along a tiny bit more. That should be good enough now. Yep. Okay, so we can put... Let's do 2 down. And this is... So not enough natural resources. That would be fine. Because you will actually start gathering some anyway. That should obviously also help us get some more of this in. So Upasin, this is part of the Industries DLC. If you're interested, I decided to put down a forestry section. So for the moment, it is just basically a very small situation. We've got a couple of wood forests, and when that happens, when those are grown enough, we are just going to be shipping them straight out. We do have options to process it in our industry area. You can see here we can either go and get paper or we can get planed timber. Some of these are obviously unlocked as you level your system up. They're like the tree plantations and sapling fields we'll get at a later point. We have just a standard sawmill to create logs, but as we go up we can get a biomass pellet one, engineered wood plant. There's your pulp mill for paper, and then just some storage for your resources. And there are also not warehouses, unique factories. So these ones are interconnected. So let me just... Or some of these are interconnected rather. So for instance, we can get a furniture factory when we get a level 2 forest industry area. Or for instance, we can get a modular house factory once we get to level 5. That is the post service, that is the fishing industry. And okay, I know there was one somewhere, I just need to find it. I'm pretty sure. Okay, no, those are just regular warehouses. So I know there's one that I'm looking for. Ah, there we go. Yep, okay, so here we have some of them which actually requires different industry items. So for instance here, the Petroleum Refinery requires petroleum, plastic and metals. So petroleum and plastic will come from your oil industry and your metals will come from your ore industry. So you need to have both set up, or you have to be willing to pay the exorbitant price to import the ore that you don't have. So unfortunately we need yet another power thing. Are we anywhere near getting another one? Yes, technically. Oh, these ones are such an eyesore. Okay, so we'll put that one there, and that should be enough energy for us for a bit longer now. Blue Cornflower. Have I ever played the Anno series or Tropico? I've played Tropico. I used to love it. However, I kind of, or it's like my introduction with that one was Tropico 4. I pre-ordered Tropico 5 based on obviously the preview systems and the generational stuff. It turned out basically nothing like I expected. Tropico 5 turned out to be nothing like I expected. The generational thing was that was, in my opinion, very badly implemented, because what I thought it was going to be was that you started in like the late 1800s with your like first ruler character, and then you were gonna like have a child, and then that child was going to grow up, you were going to get older, you were going to die, your child was going to take over, and they would all have different stats and traits that would be beneficial in some areas and detrimental in the others. No, it just turned out when you had a child, you were all basically immortal and you could pick who you wanted for that specific moment. And they also removed quite a bit of the humour that I enjoyed in Tropical 4. Like all of the advisors that had their own personalities, they just got rid of them in Tropical 5. I have no idea what's happened since then, because I pre-ordered Tropical 5, regretted it, and basically the only game that I've pre-ordered since was Surviving Mars, and that was because I actually won like one of those random competitions that game sales sites sometimes do, and it's like enter to win such and such Razer gaming headset, blah 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 blah, or like a 25% off voucher on our store. So anyway, I got a 25% off voucher, pre-ordered Surviving Mars, because that actually turned up at games testing. I didn't get to play it, but I did get to see. And yeah, basically just based on kind of what I saw on that, I pre-ordered like the deluxe version or something with the season pass, because discount. And that's been the only other pre-order that I've not regretted. Okay, so we definitely need some more residential. We are starting to run out. Okay, there is the other big street. So we'll try and bring that down. Yep, we could just about manage to squeeze that in. In Tropico, I would get rich, make people happy, then have the criminals assassinated to can't rehabilitate them. Yeah, sounds about right. Gosh, I can't even really remember any major experiences that I had with Tropical. My main one is that I remember the environmentalist advisor, and then I also remember what the different visitors would say when you clicked on them, and the American one going is like, "Can I get a cheeseburger?" And it's just kind of like, okay, very stereotypically American. But then I think the British one was also similarly stereotypical, so I just laughed at them all. Brink, geez, I think I remember that one. Was that a one with some time stopping abilities? Or am I remembering that a bit different? Upasin, is there any type or genre of games which is rare, which is very rare nowadays, and you miss it? Well, not for myself, but I know my husband was very into the real-time strategy Command and Conquer games, and that's one genre that just seems to have just kind of silently gone away. It may be coming back with things like what is it, Age of Empires? Age of Empires 4. But yeah, he was always on more of the sci-fi side of things. Blue Cornflower didn't like the weird caricatures and exaggerated personalities of Tropico 4. Turned off voices, so it's fine. It just wasn't funny like Tropico 3's DJ. Yeah, I admit I've got Tropico 1 through 5 on various stores. I think partly because like the earlier ones came with newer ones. So I have them, I've just never really played them. I kind of seem to have got my fill of Tropico 4. Oh, speaking of fill, very bad change of topic, but apparently our, not cemetery, landfill is actually full. And you know what? I'm going to see if we can chuck in a recycling centre there as well, just to try and encourage a little bit less garbage usage. So we did hit 5,000 population, and we've got our new industrial residential section here, which also means we should be able to, yep, so we can pay that one off and then probably pay our other one off as well and get a bit of money towards getting the control tower here, and hopefully getting some kind of passengers through our airport. So we've had 53 passengers and we have an attractiveness score of 0, which is not good. So Blue Cornflower. So the game genres that you liked were slow stealth genre like Splinter Cell and Thief, and also immersive sims like Deus Ex. Like, the new Deus Ex was great, but Square Enix cancelled the third game just to make Marvel games, which flopped. Yes. Yes. Oh boy, that is a topic in and of itself. Yeah. So, there's a game subscription service available in the UK. So I decided that I was going to rent the Marvel Avengers game for PlayStation 4 and see how it was. And I don't think I even got to the second mission before the game just kept on crashing for me. I could not progress past a certain area because it would just always constantly crash. So that soured my already low expectations. Even though it was very early on, I still didn't have any inclination towards starting again and going through it. And it was just, I looked at it and I went, yeah, I'm just sending this back and I'm going to get a different game. So I really need to actually have a look back at that subscription service, especially with all of the games that are anticipated to come out for the Switch this year. And also, when I move, which is hopefully going to be in the first half of this year, I'm going to be rearranging my home office studio thing so that I'll actually be able to plug my Switch, Nintendo Switch, into my computer and actually hopefully stream a couple of Nintendo games. Upasin. So your genres are text-only RPGs and point-and-click games. Some indie developers who make them, but they are much less popular than before. Yeah. I was never really into point-and-click games myself. I just don't know what it is, but the logic that's used in like puzzle games in general, and then obviously point and click games as well, it just like I know it's kind of supposed to be a bit obscure to begin with, but it's obscure in such a way that it just my brain just can't calculate it. Uh, like for instance, a game called The Longest Journey is one that I've tried playing. It's one that is uh like I enjoy the story, but it is a game that I seriously I have to have a walkthrough open so that I can actually look at and figure out what's supposed to be going on. So rather unfortunate for that one. Blue cornflower. Okay. You're hyping up Disco Elysium again. Yeah, I have seen that is very well received, and like I said on the Discord, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it for when it goes on sale. Like, talk to people and solve a murder while figuring out your past. Yeah, text-based RPGs. I'm trying to think. It's like I know there's some games on Steam. It's like there's a developer called Choice of Games, I think, that they had quite a few text-based RPGs, text-based games. Let me actually see if they're still doing things, because there were a couple that they did that I actually choice of. Yeah, there were a couple that that developer did. And okay, yeah, they still are making a few. There's a couple that were released late 2001. So let me just sort this by user reviews. Yeah, I have no idea if these are similar to what you're talking about when you mean like text-based RPGs, but you can always have a look at them. For instance, the ones that I've played and enjoyed are Choice of Robots, which is right up the highest reviewed one out of their games, and the Heroes Rise games as well. There was I think there were 6 games on the Heroes Rise one, but I only played the first 3, I think. But yeah, some of them are really well reviewed, some of them are not so well reviewed. I know they had on their website a while ago when I was originally looking at them that you could submit your own stories to it. So some of these may be obviously stories that people have submitted themselves, and Choice of Games decided that okay, yeah, we're going to sign up a contract with you. We'll give you like X amount of money for the story. We'll publish it and sort it all out, and yeah, something like that. But yeah, if it interests you, have a look, and I'll be interested to see if it is something that you've been looking for. And apparently, while we've been chatting on that, we've had more than enough money come in. So let me take out that loan and finally place that control tower. So this needs to be placed on a concourse. So that just means actually just buy this. Let's put that, let's nudge it in there. And hopefully that means we will be able to actually get some passengers in. And where was that public transport option? Airport bus station for 25,000. Let's do, come on. Okay, there, just about. There we go, that just about fits in. And okay, we can't put it there, unfortunately. I think I may actually delete that road and just move this back a bit so we can get both sections of it connected up. Yes, that should be good. There we go, that's connected up there and that's connected up there. So there is a little bit of an oddity in this, in that we now have two intersections right next to each other. That is unfortunately, looks like just how it might have to be. If I delete that and have a look, can we get that? Yes, we can get it connected in. Good. That is now a four-way intersection rather than one intersection here and another intersection there. So Blue Cornflower found out there's a Chad Twitch stream tag. Doesn't mean anything, all sorts of people have it on. Maybe I should add it on for the next stream. Yeah. That probably was added in their like most recent update for tags, because I know they added quite a lot there. And Bussin, thank you, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, that's no problem. They do have a website as well. So, choice of games. Yep, so I have no idea how many of these are free to play as they are, how many of them you might need to pay for, but they have a few others on their website, and it does look like those are more just links to, well, download this game, gives you Steam, Apple App Store, Google Play and Amazon, or you can play online. So yeah, so there's an option to play a bit for free, or you can buy the individual ones. Passing, my Twitch says that it's a tag for Chad community, whatever it means. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to put on the cinematic camera mode and take a quick break because it's my cat's dinner time and he probably would appreciate if I fed him sooner rather than later. So while that's happening, I'm just going to put cinematic camera on and we can enjoy a few views of these. I see we're having an interesting discussion about the identity of chat in the chat. Okay, so yeah, my cat's now got his food and he should be perfectly happy. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Oh, I usually get hiccups when I talk a bit too much. So this is probably a sign, especially including the fact that my cat wanted supper, that this stream should probably be winding down a little bit. I need to get ready, get some sleep, prepare for tomorrow, all those lovely things. So just before we do, I'm going to put down a couple of these, so we've got that and a small log yard. We don't really want any fencing, at least not yet. Can we fit in? No, we can't fit in another one of those. Or those, annoyingly, that is just a bit too small to fit in. Oh, I think we've done pretty successfully. Let's actually just have a look at our airport. There we go. So we do actually have an attractiveness score of 60, though we don't really have any weekly passengers. Let me just grab that and decoration buildings. There we go. We could do a budget hotel, which would need to be in a bit of a oh yeah, we could put it there. We could put it right next to the bus station, which would work. It would work. So now the question is, do I continue on with City Skylines next week, or do I dip into something a little bit different? Potentially either going back to Dead Cells, maybe seeing if people are more interested in Project Zomboid, and Blue Cornflower and Upasin, if either of you have any suggestions or preferred games, then feel free to either leave it in the suggestion box that I have, or let me just get my link for Discord. Hopefully this should work, because I know there was a situation where yeah, there we go. Okay, so that should be the right one, and while I actually think about it, I'm going to put that into my Twitch profile as well, because that should be a permanent link that people should be able to use to actually access this. Okay, and let me just have a check. Okay, I need to go into my profile thing. What kind of games do I like? Blue Cornflower says, well, I would say mostly a mix of everything. Let me have a look. Where is my profile? Settings, there we go. Okay, Discord is already in there. I just have to edit the link and make sure it is the proper one. Okay, so that should now be all there and good and up to date. Let me just double check that myself, just to make sure. Yep, okay, that all works. Yeah. Passing, yeah, some memes can be a bit strange. So, anyway, Blue Cornflower, I tend to kind of flip around between a few games. Obviously, I've got Stellaris on the docket for Saturdays at the moment, and playing that until Crusader Kings 3's newest DLC, the Royal Court, is released. I will need to have a look and see who I'm going to be playing as for that, because there is going to be a lot of options in terms of the new melting pot cultures. Even just on that item itself is going to be quite an interesting item. So I think I'm going to buy this one, and we'll try and expand out here and get down towards the beach. So yes, so Stellaris and Crusader Kings 3 are for Saturdays. That's going to run with however long that's going to take. Tuesdays at the moment, I've got kind of scheduled in what I call kind of dip in and dip out games, so it doesn't matter so much if someone misses a couple of those streams. It's going to be things like, or my plan is for things like roguelikes or stuff that doesn't really have a continuous narrative. So if you miss one or two streams, it's just like a sentence or two to catch you up. So what is potentially on the docket is, well, Dead Cells, which I did a couple of weeks ago. Project Zomboid, which I did last week. Didn't seem to get too much traction, but I am liking it myself, so I may give that another go. We've got Let's Build a Zoo, which is the zookeeping game. That could be a bit of fun, trying to create genetic hybrids. Otherwise, it may just honestly be a random game from my library. I probably need to spend a bit of time and actually sit down and schedule what games I'm going to be playing when, because there are quite a lot of ones. Like, for instance, I would really like to be able to put XCOM on the channel and then subsequently XCOM 2. Potentially XCOM with the Long War mod and make that quite a interesting and involved series. XCOM 2 with War of the Chosen. I've already alluded to the Trail or Legend of Heroes games, something on the Switch. So I may honestly just be bouncing around different games on Tuesdays before I settle into something. So yeah, I think we didn't quite get to the airport as much as I wanted to, but we do have it. It's set up. We're not getting too much traffic. Not really getting any income from ticket sales and policy effects. Yeah, so I think that is probably where I am going to be leaving it for today. So I'll just put the cinematic camera back on while I finish up the stream. So I think it's getting quite late for you passing, but thank you for coming into the stream and chatting. And Blue Cornflower, thank you for popping in as well. And like I said, if you have any suggestions for games to play either next Tuesday or just generally, pop them either into the suggestions box, or if you have Discord, you can hop in there and have a chat. It is a very, very tiny community at the moment, but if you want to, feel free to hop in, say hi, try and strike up a conversation with someone, and I will probably sign off here, and hopefully I'll be able to see you people on the next stream on Saturday at 1:30, where we will be on Stellaris, continuing with the Aquatics DLC and trying to see if we can become the nemesis of the galaxy once again, because my last attempt when the DLC came out utterly failed. And passing, usually give the games I like to see to the streamer if I can afford it at the moment. I'm just going to say, don't worry about that. I'm not hurting for money. If you suggest a game, I will be able to afford it myself, so don't worry about that. So yeah, if it takes my interest, I can have a look, let you know, and also probably let you know if it's on the schedule. As with City Skylines, I did put an event notification up for this one on the Discord, so I should be able to do the same for any future games like that, which are definitely going to be on the stream on a definite day. So, bye, Blue Cornflower. Have a good evening. Upasin, have a good evening. And hopefully you both enjoy the rest of your week, Upasin. Hope you get well soon. And if your puppies will allow it, give them a cuddle from me. Because I know my cat very, very grudgingly takes cuddles from me when I say it's from someone. But yeah, thank you both for stopping in. And I will see you hopefully at the next stream. Bye bye for now and take care.